Hello. Today we're going to talk through where do I start? How do I begin? How do I get a client going? What path should I take? Now, let's first start and acknowledge that every single client that you see is going to be different. Some might not necessarily go along this exact blueprint. They might already be able to go to phase 2, or there might be something that you have to front load before you even start on some of this. But this blueprint is something that is great for you to pull out, put in front of you, and allow you to apply as needed. So the first thing that we have to understand is we always want to handle the person as a whole and not just a test. So if you are not having a way on your intake and onboarding to assess symptoms and history, that needs to be on there. We don't want to just look at a GI map or a Dutch test and create a plan from that. We want to look at what they are currently experiencing. So if you do not have that in place, please create something to intake their symptoms and understand what they are currently experiencing. From there, the first phase, you should want to focus on inflammation and the gut. These things are very important. Usually we just say gut health focus first. However, I usually tag on inflammation there because that's typically a pretty big goal for the majority of people, is to lower their inflammation. We really can do that by focusing on the gut itself. So you want to tailor this to what is going on. Are they having constipation, slowed motility, issues digesting foods, acid reflux? Are they having a lot of bloating, a lot of gas, a lot of discomfort, pain? Different types of stools, not consistent. We really want to take a look at everything in regards to gut health. Typically with that, we can also pair skin issues that might be flaring up, histamine issues that could be flaring, and really take a look at all of that. That's the first phase. If you are not properly digesting, absorbing, and shuttling nutrients around your body, everything else you're going to do with them is not going to work. So first, gut. Then you can move on to phase 2, which is going to be hormonal health. The same way that if we are not digesting, absorbing, and shuttling nutrients properly, if our endocrine system is not producing hormones in proper amounts, then guess what? Everything else you're going to do with them, you're not going to be able to see results. So that second phase should be tailored to what are they experiencing hormonally? Is it an issue with the adrenals and stress? Are we dealing with fatigue, with brain fog, right? Remember that a lot of these symptoms when it comes to hormonal health can overlap. So this is where it can be a little bit more helpful to have some idea of what their levels look like. You do not always need a GI map in order to help somebody through gut health issues. You do not always need labs to help people navigate. However, just because there is such an overlap and there can be so many things going on, it's like a little domino effect with the hormonal and the endocrine system, it can be helpful. But you'll look into things like, do they have PCOS? Let's find a way to manage that. Do they have nothing diagnosed, but they maybe have irregular periods, painful periods, a lot of those other symptoms I was talking about with cognitive function. Second phase should be all geared towards hormonal health. The third phase is what a lot of people would probably call the fun phase. This is going to be the physique and performance phase. I guarantee you, if you have the gut and the hormones all leveled out, dialed into whatever is particular to that person, then the physique will just come along with that. It makes it so much easier. This is the phase where you can start to get more dialed into what is sustainable for you, what are your goals, and how can we create a path to get there. Now, within that entire blueprint, you should be educating them along the way. They should be establishing levels of self-awareness, and you should have tools in your toolkit as a coach to help them not just become more aware of what's going on in their body, of predicting how things are going to kind of move forward for them, but also how to navigate it. For instance, if you notice that this person maybe has a SIBO positive breath test, or they did do a GI map and you see that there's H. pylori, yes, you want to address that and you want to dig in deeper and clear it out. But you also want to dig into that next layer below. The way that I kind of explain this to my clients is that first layer is the symptoms. This is going to be what you are going to collect on them via whatever type of questionnaire you put together. The second layer, that's what the driving factor is. Is it SIBO? Is it H. pylori? Is it PCOS? Is it low stomach acid? What is that kind of generalized explanation for the symptoms? What you want to do during this blueprint at each phase is dig into this third layer. It's kind of what I call it. And that is, what in lifestyle, in stress, in nutrition, in exercise is the gap that is opening the door to allow the driving factors to enter, which then opens the door for the symptoms to be at play. This is how an amazing plan and phase outline looks for your clients. It's a great way to establish milestones and is a great way to build from the ground up. You are building sustainability, you are building habits, but you are taking it one chunk at a time. Like I said, if gut health isn't dialed in, hormonal health will not stand a chance to be working at its top. If hormonal health is not working at its best, then your physique is probably going to struggle to come along. Breaking it down like this into bite-sized pieces allows not just your clients to feel more confident, but allows you to dive deeper with them through some of these issues so that they can learn the tools and not feel overwhelmed at the fact that we're working on SIBO and estrogen dominance and you just kind of have to keep up with how fast I'm running. Hopefully this was helpful, short and sweet. If you have questions about how to set this up, how autoimmunity or other things play into this, please feel free to ask questions. If you've used this approach and it's helped, or you've used this approach and you feel like there's other approach that you would recommend, this is what the group is for. We want to make sure that we are doing what is best for our client. And like I said, every client is different. So every approach might be slightly different, but this blueprint is pretty much applicable to every single person out there.